Good morning. My name is Mrs. Lane, and I am going to be your Sunday school teacher today. This week, we are going to be talking a lot about learning to be generous. We are going to hear a story in the Bible called the widow's mite, and we are not going to be talking about the strength with their mite, but it is M-I-T-E, which is another word for a lepton, which was a kind of coin that they had in Jesus's time. They didn't use pennies and dimes and nickels and quarters. A lepton was the coin or the mite. So we're going to hear a story about a widow and her money. Now, before we get too far into that, I want to give you an example of sharing, of being generous. I want you to think about if you've had some candies. In this jar, I have 2 little heart Valentine candies. Now, I love some candy. But if I had a friend come up and say, "Oh, Mrs. Lane, could I please have one of those hearts?" I would be happy to share one with them. Maybe if I've already had some, I would even be generous and give them both of these candies. I may not have a lot left, but it's nice to give 1 or 2 of these to a friend. Now I want you to think about if I had this many. Wow, that is a lot of candy. It's a much bigger jar, but I have a lot of little candy hearts in it. Oh, they're even spilling out. There's so many of them. So if a friend came up this time and said, "Oh, Mrs. Lane, could you please share some of your candies with me?" Of course I would want to. Now, would it be as generous if I only gave them 1 this time? I have a lot of candies here. 1 or even 2, like that may not be as generous. What would be kind is if I said, "Okay, sure, let's split them up." Maybe we dump them all out, we split them into 2 piles, and we enjoy eating them together. Notice that if I have more to give, then I should be giving more. Just giving 1 or 2 is not nearly as generous when I have this many as it would be if that's all that I have left. Today, that's going to kind of compare to our widow in the story and some rich men. In the widow's mite, you're going to find some characters. Jesus, who we all know and love, of course. You're going to meet a widow, which means that her husband has passed on. Now, in Jesus's time, a widow did not have power. They didn't have money, and they often went kind of unnoticed. You'll see in this Holy Moly video that she's kind of timid to go forward because she's not this big, powerful, well-known person in the church. The next characters you're going to meet are these rich men. Oh, I can't wait till you see this Holy Moly video and what they do during this story. It's kind of funny. In this story, they are getting ready to give some of their money to the church. Now, they have a lot of money. I want to take a quick moment and read to you a passage right before this story in the Bible where Jesus talks about people with money or power, or the leaders of a church. Jesus warns against the teachers of the law. This is in Matthew chapter 12, verse 38. A large crowd was listening to Jesus. As he taught them, he said, "Watch out for the teachers of the law, who like to walk around in their long robes and be greeted with respect in the marketplace, who choose the reserved seats in the synagogue and the best places at the feasts. They take advantage of widows and rob them of their homes and then make a show of saying long prayers. Their punishment will be all the worst." Now, these people may have been impressed by the flashiness and the money of the rich men, but not Jesus. What really impressed Jesus was being able to give generously and the intentions in their heart, why they did what they did. He goes so far as even to say, you're going to be punished if you are being showy with that money rather than sharing what you really can. So I want you to remember that as we watch the story today. And I want you to think about what Jesus would think of the poor widow and the rich men in the story. Our setting takes place in the temple treasury. There are 13 what looks like treasure chests, just a money box to collect things that are all kind of locked up to keep it safe. And these 13 boxes were in what was called the court of the women, because the women had to stay outside of the synagogue. They could not go in. One other piece that's important to note is when we talk about the widow's mite in this story, we're not talking about how strong she was. It was spelled M-I-T-E. A mite was a kind of a coin, or you might hear it called a lepton. It was just a tiny little coin. Now, in the time of Jesus, this small little coin would have been worth about 10 minutes worth of work to a regular person or a regular laborer. It would be made of copper or bronze, and today it would be worth much less than a penny. So as we hear about the lepta, or putting in 2 lepta, it is going to mean not a whole lot of money, but you're going to see why that is even more amazing than what the rich men put in. All right, I hope that you enjoy the widow's mite, and then I'm going to come back and talk with you a little bit more about it after.
Zero.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the Holy Moly video. That story can be found in Mark chapter 12. We know that Mark is one of the Gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Bible here. This is actually my husband's Bible that he got in 1996. He was in middle school when he got this Bible, and we still use it to this day. To get to Mark, I'm going to open up right to the middle of the Bible. And then I'm going to take this back half and I'm going to split that in half again. And oh my goodness, I got really lucky that time. It opened right up to Mark. Sometimes I land in Matthew and I have to flip forward a little. I know you just saw the Holy Moly video, but I like to put some words to it too. This is just a couple quick verses. As Jesus sat near the temple treasury, he watched the people as they dropped in their money. Many rich men dropped in a lot of money. Then a poor widow came along and dropped in 2 little copper coins, worth about a penny. He called his disciples together and said to them, "I tell you that this poor widow put more in the offering box than all the others. For the others put in what they had to spare of their riches. But she, poor as she is, put in all she had. She gave all she had to live on." I want you to think about that. There's our rich men having all that money and putting a grand show on. They were trumpeting their horn. They were coming in and shoveling in their money. I remember them kind of coughing loudly to grab everybody's attention. Everyone was screaming and cheering for them because all the money they were putting in. But even if they made a grand show of putting in their money, they still had a lot left over. It was all about the show for them, not about what their money was really going to or why it was important to be helping people. To them, it mattered more to get that attention for all they were doing. Whereas the woman put in 2 mites, 2 leptons, and that was all she had. Nothing left over after that. She gave everything she had to the church. I want you to think about that for a minute. What do you think those people were thinking when they did that? What do you think the rich man was thinking? Yeah, I bet they thought they were somebody special. They may have gotten some high fives after that one. People in the town might have been saying, "You should have seen how much money they gave to the church." When really, they had a lot more money back at home. And everybody knew it. Now there's the widow. She doesn't have much. And she puts in her 2 coins. Were the people cheering and jumping up and down that she gave all she had? No. It kind of went unnoticed. But it went unnoticed by the people, not by Jesus, not by God. They noticed that she gave all she had to the church. It is so important when you are giving something to others to be giving for the right reason, not to get accolades or attentions or awards or have people cheering for you, but to be giving to help others, to support the church, to support other people, to make other people feel happy. That's really important. The why of the giving in this story and the reason behind that generosity is really important. So a question we often think about, especially in the church, is how much should people give? How much do we give to the church? You may have heard your parents talking about it, or some of our sermons from Pastor Henry talking about a tithe, which is when we are asked as adults to give 10% of what we make. Depending on what grade you're in, you may be able to do that math on 10% for some of your money. But really what it means is we give a piece. Of course, we need to be able to provide for our family. We need to have a roof over our heads and our food, but we need to think about with that other money that we are giving to the church rather than spending it on flashy things, rather than spending it in ways to get attention like the rich man in our story. I want you to think for a minute about some time that maybe you gave someone. Maybe it was a present. Maybe you drew them a picture. How did that make you feel? How did that make the other person feel? I know when I give something to someone else, I don't care about what other people think. I just want that person to be happy. And really, it makes me happy inside, knowing that I might be helping that person or making that person happy. But it's not about me. It's about that other person. If you could give a secret gift to someone, this is what I want you to think about this week, just because it's kind of fun. What would you give? If you could give anything to someone, maybe to your brother or sister, you give them a toy that is your favorite, or one that you know they really like, and you let them have it for a while. Maybe you draw a picture for somebody down the street. Maybe you save up a little money from earning chores and think about where you could donate it. All these things to think about. And know that if you don't have money, there's other ways to give too. You can give to others with your time, with your help. You could help your mom wash the dishes. I would take that over money any day if my boys would do that. There are different gifts that you have that you can share with others. For your activity today, I want you to try to think about a way that you could give to others, to start saving up to give to others. So what we're going to do is I have 2 cups. If you've got a piggy bank at home, great. You can make it out of an old cereal box. You can make it out of spaghetti jars, whatever you have. I would pick 2 things at home. I've got some markers here, my empty cup, and then I found some coins that were just laying around in my purse. So I'm taking my 2 cups. On one, I am going to write for God. F-O-R-G-O-D. And I'm going to make God in all capital letters. This is going to be my cup where I save money to give to God, to give to the church, to give to people around me. And then in this one, I'm going to put for me. Because it's okay to save up and spend some money on yourself sometimes, as long as you're not getting out of control with it. So I have my 2 cups for God and for me. Now I can go ahead and decorate that in so many different ways. I could think about what would that mean to give to God. Maybe it would be giving money to our church. Maybe it would be buying food for others with that money that I save up. I'm just going to draw a little apple on there. Maybe it would be donating to a charity that helps build homes for people that may not have one. So I'm just thinking of different ways that I could use my money to help others and to help God. And then on mine, let me think. What's something I could save up for that I really want? Guys, I love shoes. I really do. I love them. Maybe I could save up my money to buy a new pair of shoes. I'm going to put kind of a little boot on here. I am not an artist, so hang in there with me. There's my shoe. So that could be my, for me, save up jar. And now, in the next coming days or weeks or months, I can start to use these like 2 separate banks where I can put money that I save for others. I've got some coins here. There's my pennies. I know they are worth 1 cent. I have some nickels that are worth 5, which is so funny to think about how I would need 5 of these to make 1 of these nickels. So it's not always about how many are in there, it's what it's worth. And let's see, I don't have a quarter, but I do have a little itty bitty dime. I love that it's the smallest one, but it's still worth more than my pennies and my nickels. So now I have to decide, where's this money gonna go? Is it going to go towards me saving up? Or is it going to go towards God? I'm gonna go ahead and grab all of my pennies. I have 9 pennies here. And I'm gonna give them all to God. Now I know that that may not be a whole lot. So I'm gonna give him some more. I'm gonna give another dime. Now I'm at 19 cents, 10 more cents, 29 cents for God, I don't have any in my jar yet. So I will go ahead. I'll save up a little bit. I'll put in 10 cents for me. I have 2 nickels. And then I'll take my last 15 cents and I'll put it in my God cup. So you guys can start saving up, whether you find some coins on the ground, or maybe you get a couple dollars for a birthday, or from the tooth fairy, or maybe you are doing some chores and earning some money. But either way, you can put some money in a jar to save up for you, but it's also important to have another little one out to give to others. If you have a piggy bank at home, maybe you've already got one of these started, but you can think about starting another one to save up to help others. Just a fun little way about thinking of giving back and what that really means to other people in sharing what you have. Hopefully you don't go and take your bank that's labeled for God and brag to all of your friends about how much you're doing for other people. Remember, it's about knowing in your heart that you are helping others and that you are giving your money to God. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and close us in a prayer today. And it has been wonderful getting a chance to talk with you. I hope you have a lovely Sunday. Dear God, thank you for allowing us all to be together today. It is so nice to be able to hear your word and to share it with others. We thank you for all of the blessings you have bestowed upon us. Please help us to be generous and humble as we share what we have with others and with you, God. In your name we pray. Amen.